Begin transmission. Hello, everybody. It is Chris, aka Starrapter, joined as always by Milton and Ben for episode 55 of this Star Wars podcast. This week we have a very busy week. We have tons of Obi-Wan Kenobi promotional content officially and unofficially hitting the shelves and all over the internet. We also have some updates on Cassian Andor. We have a brand new Star Wars game that's being created by Hennig, who created the other game that was made by EA a long time ago that got canceled, Amy Hennig, and a lot more to get through. So, man, oh man, it's been one heck of a week, and news is coming up the moment we are recording this. So, lots of fun stuff to talk about. I'm very excited to get into it this week. How was your guys' Easter? I know you celebrated it, both of you guys, as well as I. So, did you guys have any kind of traditions or anything you do every Easter Sunday, or what? I'll start with Milton over there.
Yeah, we had a good Easter, man. Family came into town. Everyone had a good time. There was no drama. That's always the best. Um, we just do our normal like Easter lunch. This year actually we changed it up. This past year for Christmas, I brought over the Nintendo 64 after our main Christmas meal. So this year I decided to bring over the PlayStation 2, and me and my brother played PlayStation 2 after Easter. So I think I'm trying to make that more a tradition, just play something retro after some type of holiday that we do. So yeah, it was a good time. Looking forward to the next holiday.
Yeah, that's a blast from the past because me and my younger cousin, who's a year younger than me, every holiday, Christmas, Easter, whatever, we would get together and we'd always have to have some kind of game console. We would be,
Hmm.
transporting this little like, I don't know, 12-inch like little TV wherever we went to set it up in one of the bedrooms to play the games, and that's how we would get entertained. So, yeah, it's totally a blast from the past, man. But I'm happy to hear they had no family drama because sometimes that could happen at these sorts of things, especially with the political landscape that we live in the last 3 years. So,
You're not wrong.
what about you, Ben? How's your weekend?
That's funny you guys say that. There was almost family drama that started at mine, but it got shut down really quickly, and it was of course political related. People just started talking about politics, started talking a little louder, and I just spoke up. I was like, whoa, 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 whoa! Nobody cares. It's politics. Focus on Easter, people. And then
Exactly.
they just dropped it. Um, but you guys know how politics go. It gets interesting. So other than that, like both, I had my mom's side on Saturday and then my dad's side Easter on Sunday, and both of them turned out really well for the most part. We had a bunch of good food. I just took it easy on the diet, just ate basically whatever I want. Got back to it on Monday, but just took it easy over the weekend, and it's a lot of fun. And as you said, Milton, like family traditions are always like a big thing, and like one thing me and my cousin we always do. He's the cousin. We always go to all the big Star Wars and all the superhero premieres. We always go to like the opening nights. Like that's our thing. We've done
Right.
that. We've done that ever since, just ever. And so what we always do, like on all the holidays, we always will just turn on a Star Wars movie in the background, like while we're sitting around talking and stuff. So like over Easter we had A New Hope playing just because it was kind of like where it's leading up to Kenobi. So like we threw it on and we're just talking about Kenobi, theorizing about it, and just having a good discussion about it with my cousin, and then my uncle, who's definitely more of like just the casual Star Wars fan, like a new Star Wars, I'll watch it. Like so we started talking to him about Kenobi, and now he's like actually super excited about it because he didn't really know like too much about it. So we started really talking to him about it, and got him excited. And as you guys know, at family gatherings, we're the Star Wars people, so that's where all the family comes to when it comes to the Star Wars discussions.
Yeah, so it's good to hear that you're getting warmed up on your commentary there for New Hope, because for all listeners and watchers out
Yep.
there, we're going to be doing our New Hope commentary at some point in May, like you said, to warm up for Obi-Wan Kenobi series coming
Mhm.
out on May 26th
Well,
or 7th, I
here's
should say.
oh yeah, here's the fun thing about that. So we actually watched the original A New Hope,
Oh,
actually the VHS version, because we were at my
jeez.
grandma's. Yeah, we were at my grandma's, and she still has a VHS/DVD player combo, and we actually threw in the original A New Hope VHS tape, like from '77 or
Oh,
whatever,
nice.
like back then. because my grandma has all 3 movies on VHS tapes because,
Mhm.
when they first came out back then, my grandma was like a pre-internet pirate. So like she literally like recorded everything on VHS tapes.
Wow.
Whenever it would come on TV, she'd record it. Like I kid you not, just until a few years ago, till we moved her like VHS tapes more toward out to her shed and stuff into the storage. So she actually had one. So like in her back separate room, it was probably a 6 foot by 7 foot or 8 foot room, just a good little size office space. And what she did was, see, when she first moved over here, she was from Germany, so she actually, back then, like, just the idea of like the movie store, she loved the idea of like the rental, rent your movies at like Family Video
Yeah.
and stuff. So what she did was she turned that up until just like last year, her whole back separate room was literally wall to wall, like on, say, like when you walk in the room, the right wall, left wall, and the wall in front of you, they were all just shelving with movies labeled from like 1 to like 1500, and she
What?
literally had them wrote down in a notebook, so she kept track of them like Family Video would. And her whole
Oh
back
my
room, she has
gosh.
all these vintage movies, like just everything from like 70s, 80s, 90s, like when the VHS tapes first started coming out. And so we just went out and grabbed A New Hope on Sunday and just watched it, and it was still in great condition, still played perfectly and everything.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing that your grandmother has a collection of that magnitude because that brings me back to the good old Blockbuster days, just
Yeah.
perusing all the tapes and
Well,
all
because
the old nostalgia.
yeah, well, the funny thing is, like with her, the reason she did that, she said I wanted to make my own family video, so then I didn't have to pay money to rent the movie, so they'd just be right in my own house. So,
That's awesome.
Oh man.
so yeah, so she literally, like I said, she literally has probably over, like it was close to 1,500 tapes of movies and stuff, and it's great. Like she has, the old Indiana Jones on tapes, Jaws, like all the classic movies, and it's hilarious. They're like all recorded, just from her like recording on the VHS tapes over the years.
Wow. Okay. I mean
Yeah,
that's a blast from the past and some nostalgia and I'm gonna hit you
yeah,
guys with some nostalgia right now because my Easter Sunday was great. We got together the afternoon, evening, just spent time with family. But before then, me and my girlfriend took a trip to this place called Columbus Farmers Market. It's in New Jersey, South Jersey.
Mhm.
It's like an indoor outdoor flea market. I sent you guys a ton of pictures, like flooded your feed with all that because
Right.
I was going bonkers, man. Because they have this indoor area, right? And they have all these different stores, whether it's like just like antiques and different things like that. But the first store I went in was like a Funko store, literally just sold nothing but secondhand Funkos, and there were some amazing Star Wars ones I seen. Like they had the entire Bad Batch. They had like concept characters of like basically Luke Skywalker, who used to be called Han Solo at one point because it was like a dude with brown hair and a lightsaber called Han Solo Concept. And then
Hmm.
they had like Kira, who was a concept to be Luke Skywalker. So I
yeah,
thought that was so cool. Like I seen a lot of these like epic looking Funko Pops for like really good prices, like under $20. And they had a whole bunch of other selections. So right off the bat, I was like, "Oh, this trip to this place is already a good start because I haven't been there literally in like a decade. Because I used to go there when I was really little. My mom would take me to this place to get. I would basically go get Pokemon cards as everybody else shopped. I would like beg my mom, like, I need Pokemon cards. Like this is no, this is longer than 10 years. This is like 20 years ago, I should say.
Yeah.
Um, and then the next shop I seen was just like a collector store. And I was like, oh, cool. There's like a lot of figures, just all figures and stuff. And they had a whole little Star Wars section with Black Series figures. And I seen this figure, and I haven't gotten a Star Wars figure in a very long time just because I really have a trouble trying to put them someplace. But I did end up picking up the Star Wars, the vintage series. This is a Purge Trooper, first appeared in Darth Vader comics from Charles Soule in 2017 and later appeared
Nice.
in Jedi Fallen Order.
nice.
So I was really happy because as you guys know, I love Jedi Fallen Order. I have a number of the Black series, like the 6-inch ones, but I love the design of the vintage with the package. I leave them in the package because they look cool. I just hang them up on the wall and stuff like that. And that wasn't only it, because then we went to the next store. And it was an old retro video game store. And I was like a kid in a candy shop over this last hour or
Mm.
so because I was just taking my damn time, just looking through all these old games. Like I seen the Kinect Star Wars game on the original Xbox 360 with the Kinect. I seen the original Obi-Wan Kenobi game for the Xbox. It was like
Classic.
one of the
Right.
launch
Yeah.
titles, and it
Fire.
was like $70 because the thing was with that game is it's not even backwards compatible right now. Like you would have to go and drag out your original Xbox to play that freaking game. But I just kept looking through all this stuff, man. There was Super Nintendo, PlayStation. They had like the old display units that you would see in like Walmart and stuff, like all these collector's editions. Just really fun time. Just taking my time on Easter, just looking at all this cool stuff, and I browse with my eyes, but I really don't buy much because of space. But it was a fun day out. So that was definitely pretty memorable for Easter more than any other years past. For me at least.
Yeah, that's what's up though, because I mean, when you send us those pictures of like that, I mean, and you made a comment. Oh, I'm acting like Milton right now, just going through like the shop and looking at everything. Because I do that all the time when I show up at like a store or whatever, and I love the vintage games. And I know we talked about this, might have been a week or two ago, but maybe a couple weeks ago we talked about what game we'd want to bring back. That Obi-Wan Kenobi game is so good, and we
Hmm.
might even mention it, but I wish that one was backwards compatible for like all systems and just update the graphics, but that game is still nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So we got
Hey,
Dark Dirty Gonzo chiming in. By the way, anybody that's ever watching live, feel free to send us some comments in the chat. We love to interact with you guys as you guys are sending your comments. But Dark Dirty Gonzo, he lives in the Jersey area. He also mentioned, yeah, Columbus is a place he knows about, all about
Hmm.
it. He says he wants to take a nostalgia trip. But there's this really funny thing he just said. He was like talking about this old, very old like toy store that I remember, and he basically equates it to like Watto's Junkyard. Cause I
Ah,
remember this place. Like my aunt hated taking me into that place because there was like piles of like Star Wars ships on top of Star Wars ships, and like the counter was just like littered with Star Wars toys. But for somebody like that was 10 years old, they were like, "This is the best thing ever." And my aunt's like, "I don't
for
want
sure.
to take you to this junky place." So yeah, that guy. Unfortunately, I don't think that shop exists anymore. The shop I went into was a lot more, organized than I remember the other place. But nonetheless, yeah, man, it's worth a trip. Like I said, I found a lot of figures I'd never even seen in the wild, as you would say before. So good trip.
Now that's what's up.
Yeah, so you guys sound like you had some pretty cool Star Wars experiences this week. So I don't know if there's anything else you want to add to that as well, or we can move on.
I say let's get into it.
Let's
yeah.
get into it. So, before we get started, anybody that is listening, you can go ahead and watch us live every Friday at 9 o'clock Eastern on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Starrapter. If you're watching and you want to actually listen to us on the go, you can go ahead and download us on any podcast streaming network. Heads up, I will be at Star Wars Celebration in under 5 weeks time, so you can go ahead and try to meet me there. If you see me around, I'll be giving out stickers, giving out buttons, and you'll see me with either an Outer Rim transmission, a Starrapter shirt, or some cool cosplays that I have planned. So I'm looking forward to that as the big mecca for Star Wars fans. So getting into it, we're going to start off with Obi-Wan Kenobi. This surfaced somewhere online. If you're watching, I have it pulled up on YouTube. This really cool image of, I think it was just like some toy store or something, some department store, I guess, of this epic shot of Obi-Wan Kenobi hooded, lightsaber drawn. In the middle of this image, you see Vader and him clashing swords in like a blue ethereal kind of plane with Vader, his face enlarged on the other side, opposite of Obi-Wan. So let me ask you guys, what's your first reaction to this image?
Fire. I mean, I look. This is my most anticipated show of any Star Wars show thus far, and it probably will be until I'm no longer here on this planet because Obi-Wan Kenobi is just a great character. Um, this particular poster or promotional art, it's well done. I mean, it's focusing on Kenobi, obviously with the title, but then like we know they're going to clash in this show. For those who haven't been paying attention to any promotion or what Kathleen has said in the last year or so, but Vader and Obi-Wan will clash again. And I'm curious to see how that will play out. So it's appropriate for this poster or promotional art to look this way.
Yes,
Oh
Ben.
yeah, oh yeah, definitely. Just sitting here looking at it. Yeah, like I think, yeah, Milton, you really nailed the points. Like, it's appropriate to look this way. It builds the hype of the show. Obviously the focus should be on Kenobi and Vader, which we're presuming. So I think it looks really good. It sets the tone. I
Mm-hmm.
think there's a chance. I think there's a chance this could be used in the show, but maybe because there have been different rumblings, they could potentially fight multiple times in the show. Like I feel like there's a chance maybe this could be like a dream sequence type
Could
deal.
be.
Like a vision. Maybe Obi-Wan thinking about what's going to happen if I meet Vader again. Blah blah blah. Like I feel like it could be something along those lines, more of like a vision, I would say. But yeah, it should be really good. Like I mean, yeah, it just builds the excitement for the show, and that's the main part, or the main, I guess, main purpose, you would say, of these
Right.
pieces of marketing materials, just to like build the hype.
Right. And here's the thing, I mean, I'll throw this to you guys. This is probably some of the best promotional art I think they've done thus far. And this isn't me throwing shade. It's the fact that it's not over the top. I mean, look at all the films that they've released thus far, and I'm including the standalone films and the sequel trilogy. Those posters I felt like were very much full, and it really, I mean, it took the focus away from a lot of different characters. So I think this one does a good job at keeping the focus on our two primary characters. And obviously, I'm sure we'll get another one with the Inquisitors, but I do like this particular piece of art because it's just very simple and it's to the point.
Yeah, I think this poster is going to be something you'll find on a t-shirt, right? Like they're going to
Right,
use this. This is not even like the main poster or anything like
right,
that.
right,
This is
right.
just something that's going to be hanging up in like Target's like toy aisle for the Star Wars
Hmm.
section. You know what I mean? As like a banner or something. And so for that to be just this is impressive in its own right. What I gleaned from this image is just, as Melton was saying, just this epic, simple. You got two characters, the hero and the antagonist. They're duking it out. We know what's gonna happen. They're not going light on this plot. Like Kathleen Kennedy said when she announced this project, this is the duel of the century. Like, there you go. This is what we're getting into. And we see right there in the middle, what stood out to me, as much as you two probably don't want to hear this, is, and I seen this a lot on the internet, is this kind of reminiscent of the teaser poster for The Rise of Skywalker, with like the Emperor Palpatine like looming in the
Hmm.
background, like there's
Yeah.
a blue hue. I'm getting that sort of vibe from them kind of dueling, and like
But
Ben
you
was
know, though,
saying, yeah.
I can't be mad at that. Like I see where that comes from because that blue makes sense. I mean, the way it looks. I was actually thinking more. It would kind of remind me of, I don't know if this is an actual real poster, but the Anakin Padme Attack of the Clones poster when it was like they're back to back and the words are like, a Jedi shouldn't fall in love, blah blah
Yeah.
blah.
Oh.
I kind of got that vibe because they're both facing each other. Obviously, this isn't a love story, but I kind of got that vibe too of like, okay, I can see that little symmetric, style of making this particular type of art. But no, I see the Rise of Skywalker echoing obviously in this, but that's not a bad thing because that's actually a kind of a, I will say that's probably a really good poster for the most part out of all those movies.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a good poster, and also like whether we like the movie or not for what it is, it's just in like just straight marketing wise.
Mm.
I think it's a good idea for them to do it that way, just because the Rise of Skywalker is fresh in people's minds. So that's still like you still associate this sort of imagery with, given of course it's Star Wars, but you know what I mean. Like you associate it with Star Wars. Like after seeing Rise of Skywalker in theaters, like you associate these types of shots with Star Wars, whether it would say like Star Wars or Obi-Wan on it. Like if you just saw the picture just blind, you'd say, oh, that's a Star Wars thing.
Right.
Yeah, and I mean, this just signifies, as my title for this video and this episode podcast is like, it is ramping up very quickly for this promotion of Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi. It seems like every time we get towards the end of like the current Marvel or Star Wars series, that's when they ramp up the production before the first thing's even done, right? We have 2 episodes left of Moon Knight, but they're like, okay, we got to start promoting this thing now to get people excited so they know what to watch after Moon Knight gets over with. Because we're literally just a few days over a month from this thing actually airing its first 2 episodes, on the 27th. So this again, just kind of we've seen the trailer, and it's like, yeah, that blew our minds with like, hey, this thing's actually happening. And then when you start to see this stuff, it becomes even more real. Like, okay, now the stuff that you'll see in the stores is out, and it's getting out there to us. And hey, we'll be totally, encumbered by all this Obi-Wan promotion. We're going to be saying, the week or two before this comes out, oh, here's TV spot number 15. What's new in this one? Well, there's this 1 second
Yep.
shot of the hilt of his lightsaber, and that's about all we have left to talk about on this. We're going to be saying that pretty soon. It's going to be crazy. Blink and you'll miss it. We're going to be there very quickly.
Oh yeah, we're definitely going to be getting I feel like a lot more. Like you said, now that Moon Knight's ramping down, now it's time to put the focus on Star Wars or on Kenobi specifically, and I feel like that's what they're going to do. Like this retail, these images coming out, and now it's like, what's next? Here we go.
Yeah, so also within actually today we had Total Film release 2 magazine covers for, I think this magazine is going on sale April 26th, I believe. So we have one that features Obi-Wan Kenobi kind of looking like he is with the hood up, I believe now. I don't have an image for that one to pull right now, but then we also have one that's just an image of his lightsaber hilt. So there you go. I mean, we had Entertainment, what was it, Entertainment Weekly or something that I put
Yep.
out the first thing. So now we're having, we'll probably have like an Empire magazine cover reveal at some point. I'm assuming at one. So again, things are ramping up just like you would expect from a movie's promotion. We're getting this for a damn series. Who would have ever thought?
I will say that's not surprising, and like Disney does a good job at marketing. I mean, they are the biggest company, one of the biggest companies in the world, and they've done a really good job at marketing any property that they touch. I mean, say what you want about these particular films over the last 6 years, their marketing has been amazing. The only criticism we should say that we probably have said multiple times in this podcast is that they're very cagey with information.
Yep.
But when it comes to marketing their movies and their property, it's like, oh, they pretty much can't do no wrong. I mean, I know they've had some hiccups, but no, they're great at this. So I have to continue to trust, quote unquote, trust the process, like Joel Embiid would say. I have to trust the process that Disney is going to market this show appropriately. And they might overdo it at times because it's Obi-Wan Kenobi. This is their crown jewel, of characters in their stable of characters. So the more the better, and I'll be okay with that because everyone loves Kenobi.
Heck
Yeah, for sure. Like the marketing for the most part has been done really well for all of these projects. I think in general, from the movies to the TV shows. Like, I mean, me and my buddies were just talking about this last week. Say what you want about The Last Jedi, but the trailer's really good. It got you hyped. Like, it made you interested in the movie. It was exciting. And then, boom, coming out of that.
I still watch them to this day. All the trailers.
Yeah, exactly. Going to Rise of Skywalker, there was not a single person that wasn't at a hype level, like, through the roof when Palpatine started laughing at the end. Like, Everybody, they know how to market. So I think we're still... of course, this marketing material is ramping up. We're going to be getting more and more looks at it through clips, and maybe we're going to get another trailer, like things like that. And just really amp things up for us. Really,
Ben, I can see us getting another trailer before Disney Celebration or Star Wars Celebration. Yeah. I think that they always release that one trailer where you hear some type of like mystery of a character popping out, or familiar, like Palpatine at the end of Rise of Skywalker, or I think Rogue One, you see Vader's helmet at the end of the one trailer. I can't remember, but they have to give us a trailer with Vader in it. Well, at least a glimpse of him.
That's the thing. If you, heck, if you listen to some of the streets around Mos Eisley on the internet, like it sounds like we might, coming from one of my buddies, Jason Ward, we might get some type of a clip in the next 1 to 2 weeks for this show, which I think it makes perfect sense. And then also we have CinemaCon, the Disney panel, I believe, is next Wednesday coming up. Sure, it's mainly for movies, but hey, with companies promoting their movies and stuff, I feel like there's a really good chance Disney could be like, hey, forget all your movies. We're going to drop a Kenobi trailer or something, or we're going to drop a Kenobi first look and just blow everyone out of the way, out of the water.
But I'm going to kind of hold my expectations very low because I've been burned from the Mandalorian trailers and the Boba Fett trailers as like, they are showing us nothing interesting. It's like the same thing over and over and over again. So, I mean, the good thing is we're only a month away, so it's not like, hey, they're going to throw us a trailer. We have to still wait 3 months. Like, hey, if they give us a trailer, I'm going to watch it, of course, and get excited about it. But I'm not going in expecting to see, like, some new mystery character where we're going to be speculating about it or anything. Because I feel like Disney promotes their series very much differently in terms of, like, reveals and stuff in the trailers versus just having people wait and see in the actual series.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, look at all the Marvel shows, the Star Wars shows. They virtually show nothing in the trailers. And when it comes to Kenobi, for example, the next trailer we get, all the TV spots we get, it's all going to be, I think, Star Wars candy, basically, as in, it'll be shots us as fans like, shots us as fans talk about. As you said, Milton, I actually do think, I mean, I don't know any information or anything, but I'm just speculating. I think for the next trailer, or if it's not in the next trailer, maybe one of the TV spots, maybe May the 4th they do it. But I feel like we are for sure gonna get some type of a look at Vader, just because it really sets more of the tone, just for the series, because it's Darth Vader. It really solidifies. Like, sure, they've literally said he's in it, they're gonna fight, etc. But it's that whole thing of with Star Wars, like, hey, we don't believe it until we actually see it on screen. So I think they're gonna show him.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, right? Is Darth Vader, when people see him on a commercial and they realize, oh my gosh, like, he's gonna be on my TV screen, like, not even in the theaters, like, I think they're gonna get a jump up in subscribers, because we see it every freaking couple months. Like, Hasbro will put out a new line of toys, and there's always some kind of version of a Darth Vader, which is funny when I say version of a Darth Vader, because they're all freaking the same until you make one white and claim that it's a new figure and you try to sell it off to be a comic book tie-in or whatever. So we know that people love Vader, and he is like an icon that promotes Star Wars in itself. So I think you are right. I think we'll see the trailer with him in it, because that's going to be like the killing blow. Like, people are going to have to subscribe to Disney Plus now because we're getting Vader in live action on the TV screen. Yeah,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and go ahead, Ben.
Oh, I was going to say, maybe, who knows, maybe we get some type of, sure, they could do a cut of him, but maybe we get some type of a line from Vader, some type of an epic line. I don't even know what it would be, some epic line, like saying the name Kenobi or something, or I don't know, or just, he's alive, or just something, or a Jedi's up. Maybe, hey, that's maybe you don't directly say Kenobi, but you could have Reva, since she's presumably getting shown a lot for the Inquisitors. Maybe she tells Vader, Lord Vader, there's a Jedi we believe alive, blah 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 blah. Her reporting to Vader. So it's like, whoa, this badass looking chick is reporting to Vader. Like, what's going on here?
Yeah. So that wasn't all with the Kenobi news, because just today, as we're recording this, we also got official word from Vanity Fair broke this one, that Natalie Holt will be composing the score for Obi-Wan Kenobi. So this is a big one, because she's actually the first female composer to compose a live action Star Wars anything. So big groundbreaking things happening over there for diversity and everything else, as far as that's all concerned. So pretty cool stuff there. And she was the one that was responsible for the Loki soundtrack and the Loki score. So I watched that show, and I do remember that the Loki score being pretty cool. I really dug it. What do you guys have to say about this news here?
To me, I really don't know her work that well. I mean, I know you said she did the Loki stuff, so as long as it's good, I wouldn't. I don't even care. Like, I mean, I don't mean to be dismissive of it. What I mean is like, if she's a good composer and she can kill Kenobi, great. I'll definitely know her name after that, and I'll probably pay more attention to her career. Um, but I'm kind of surprised that they didn't use John Williams, or no, I wouldn't say not use him, but and maybe they might consult him on like how to maybe bring more of the Star Wars feel into it, which I'm sure they use a lot of familiar
Well,
themes.
I just to interject real quick, Milton,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I read like it was a Vanity Fair or Hollywood Reporter thing. I'm pretty sure John Williams was consulting on this. Like
Okay.
I feel like I have read that somewhere.
Gotcha.
Just
I was.
And
You guys are getting
no,
ahead of yourselves. I was gonna actually mention that, but go ahead, keep
no, I'm
making
glad.
your
No,
point.
I'm glad you said it because the reason why I bring this up because this isn't like a Rogue One or a Clone Wars where like yeah it's Star Wars but they're not the primary focus of main characters. Like this is something that John Williams has been tied to. Is like this is a main character, so I would assume like he wanted to at least put his prints on this and maybe create something special for Kenobi. I mean he worked with Ewan McGregor, to doing those prequel films. He Duel of the Fates, Battle Heroes, Cross the Star. Like we can name all their tracks that Kenobi and his character and Ewan McGregor was connected to throughout those prequels. So that's why I'm bringing that up. But again, if this Natalie person is fire with it, oh, I'm all about it. Like I wouldn't even hate because I love all the Star Wars music. Um, I love the soundtrack, so I assume this will be great. I'm surprised they didn't actually go to Kevin Kiner because
Yeah,
Kevin Kiner did what? Clone Wars? Did he do
he did
Rebels
Clone
too?
Wars, Rebels, Bad
Yeah.
Batch.
Right? Kevin Kiner or even Michael Giacchino, who did Rogue One. I loved his soundtrack. So, like, I'm
see.
surprised I'm surprised they didn't go to some of those guys first. But at the end of the day, if she's the best person for the job, who am I to hate?
Here's the thing. Okay, so I'm gonna set this all straight. So, John Williams did actually work on this show, and it's in the
Okay.
article,
Okay.
Vanity Fair. I'm gonna read straight from the source here. So the question was asked: How did you and Williams come to work in tandem? Obi-Wan is a legacy character that John hadn't written a theme
Yeah.
for because he died quite early on in A New Hope. It's the only legacy character that he hadn't done. So he spoke to Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy and said, "I just want to write a Benny theme." So who could deny of that? Eddie did. He wrote the Obi-Wan theme, and it just embodies the spirit of the show entirely.
Okay.
See,
We're good then.
this is awesome, right? Because I mean, I understand why he wouldn't do the show. That's a huge endeavor. I don't know if he's ever gonna like
Absolutely.
write an entire show anymore, but the fact that he's able to kind of, I mean, I don't know what he wrote like before. Well, actually, Jaws obviously came out before Star Wars, but like it's kind of cool to see him coming around full circle. Like one of his earlier works had to have been Star Wars, 40 years ago, 45 years ago, almost at this point. And then he's getting to circle back and add something to Star Wars again with one of the first characters to be in Star Wars with Obi-Wan Kenobi. So I find that quite poetic and pretty cool. And the fact that as I'm reading this article, and she sounds like she's honoring him, obviously John Williams, with what he did before, but adding in some things here and there. So
Here's an
No, that's what's
interesting.
up. That's what's up. I'm glad.
Oh yeah. Well, while you were saying that, Chris, an interesting thing. So I was just doing a little googling. She's actually only been working composing since 2007 on like Hollywood productions and things. So she's fairly young, and I was looking. She's only 39 years old, so she has to be, I think, the youngest composer probably ever to work on Star Wars. I would guess, because John Williams
yeah,
is 90. Like
yeah.
she's probably the youngest person I think to ever compose for Star Wars. So that's actually pretty cool. So she's probably potentially, like I said, she's only been composing in Hollywood since about 07, 06, 07. So she probably grew up, watching the prequels. Like if she had seen Star Wars back then, which if she was interested in music, I'm sure she probably had some sort of influence from the prequels, because 22 years ago she would have been only 17 years old. So, she's fairly young, and it'll be interesting to see her overall influence from the prequels on this show.
That's a really good point. Yeah, because having somebody that's a little bit younger has that more affinity for the prequels, I feel like, for the most part, right? She would
Yeah.
probably be like in her late teens when it had come out, because she's almost 10 years older than I am at this point. But yeah, that's pretty cool about the youngest composer. That's pretty neat there. But again, like seeing John Williams touching a series, right, getting his hands involved with a series like Obi-Wan, like you know that this is gonna swing hard. You know this is gonna be pretty big. If John Williams wants to leave his stamp on this thing, you know that he had a good idea. This show is gonna be good.
Right. No, I agree.
Oh,
Yeah,
for sure.
so that is going to do it for our discussion on the latest with Obi-Wan Kenobi. A lot of stuff breaking, and I'm sure we'll have a lot more to talk about next week. But switching gears to another forthcoming Disney Plus Star Wars series, that is Cassian Andor. And both of these stories come from Bespin Bulletin. They claim that these sources could be pretty good for the most part. And the first one we're going to talk about here today has to do with season 1 featuring, and this is going to be light spoiler territory, so anybody that doesn't want to know anything about any like background characters showing up, it's not going to be very big for the plot. I'll just give you a warning and maybe fast forward about 5 minutes or something. 3, 2, 1. So according to this, the Royal Guards at Masamida is going to, I butchered that name, Masameda is going to be in season 1 of Cassian Andor. And what they go and they break this down further, saying that there's going to be a scene in the Senate chamber where Masameda is going to be there, and I guess he's going to be, he's the Grand Vizier. He's like the right-hand man of the Emperor at this point. He's going to be there with the Royal Guards, I guess, guarding him. So what are your reactions to this one, Milton?
I think it's cool. I mean, he's a character that we would like to know more about. I don't think that's much of a spoiler, in my opinion, because it makes sense that he's there. This is during the I guess the height of the Empire and them, being in full control of the galaxy. So for him to be around makes sense. So if anyone gets upset about this being a spoiler, like, get over yourselves, because this character is not dead at this point. Yeah, seriously, like, I mean, that's like saying, oh, 3PO shows up. Yeah, Mom, exactly. Or your boy, Jimmy Smits.
Yeah.
Bail Gone, like, he shows up. Or if Leia popped up in the show, it would make sense, because she's alive and she's an integral part of Star Wars. So to me, Masamune makes sense. I want to see what he's been up to. To me, he seems kind of sleazy.
Oh yeah.
So I hope they make him like a sleazy, like brown nosing politician. I guarantee that's what he has to be like.
Yeah.
But I would like to see what he's been doing during this time, because we really don't get to know him unless you read the comics. Because I guess in the comics or books, he is trapped at the Jedi Temple at one point. Like they lock him in there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing, right?
I'm cool with this.
Yeah, Masamune has very much been in the forefront of the comics. Right now, he's very much involved with the Darth Vader comics. He's kind of chiding Darth Vader, kind of poking fun at him a little bit, but knows that the Emperor's going to protect him, a lot. So yeah, he's a scumbag, and he's just a jerk in general. And we see him, his end. I don't know. I have to see if he's alive or not. I know he was in some interlude chapters in Aftermath, Empire's End. He was trapped, like you said, in Coruscant building. I don't know if they arrested him or what happened to him, but
I can't remember. Yeah.
Yeah. For me, what this signifies, the first thing is when they said the Senate chamber, I'm like, yes, we're going back to Coruscant. This is going to be our first real look, besides like the 30-second glance on the inside of Rogue One at Coruscant. Our first look at the Imperial District. Hopefully, they're not going to just cut to the interior. Hopefully, we get to see the outside, the glory of that whole city during the Empire's reign. So that was the first thing I'll say about that one, and I'll let Ben discuss this one before I go further.
I think this. I think we'll for sure be seeing the outside of it, because I think this could potentially be a, we've been told this is like a spy series, so I think there's a chance Cassian is going to be sneaking in somehow into the Senate chambers, and he's going to be onlooking this address somehow, potentially. So like maybe it'll be something like that, where we see, we'll see the exterior, we'll see the interior of the building, and then into the chamber. Like I think there's a chance for that. Also with the massive address that Masamita will be doing, there's a very good chance, like, I mean, I think for Kenobi and Andor, really, there's a good chance we get a hologram of Palpatine at some point. And the main reason I say that too, of course, is just the timeline. But like Ian McDermott had a real weird interview. It was like a month or two ago. We might even mention it on this show. But he had a real weird interview. He was like, "Oh no, my character in episode 9 is totally dead, but who knows where he could appear before that or something."
Yeah.
Like it was like a real weird comment. And it's like, okay, so are we going to maybe see him in Andor or Kenobi? And for this show, maybe we see him as a hologram, like, maybe Masamita, like, gives some spiel and he's like, the Emperor of the Galaxy, blah, 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 and introduces Palpatine.
I agree with that because, I mean, didn't they bring back Ian McDermott as a voice and Rebels for that time? What's that episode?
Yep.
World
Between Worlds.
Yes.
Yep.
So they brought him back already. So there's precedent for that. So if you want to shoot him as a hologram, like, that's fine with me. I mean, I think that's dope. So I mean, there's no need to make him come back and shoot on set. So we're good.
Yeah. I think the thing with this is it gets me excited. It gets me to spin the mind with the speculation, so to speak, because if you're gonna have any kind of Masameda, there's going to be a political presence in this show. The fact that they mentioned they're going to be in the Senate, you listen to what happens in A New Hope, in Rebels, right? Like, they dissolve the Senate. So we're going to see the Senate at the end of its lifespan, see how the early rebellion is, like, maneuvering perhaps through official channels while they're on the back end dealing with, like, actual rebel, like, strikes and stuff like that. So I'm really excited to see, because this makes me think that this show is going to be a lot deeper than I originally thought it could be, right? Maybe seeing Bail Organa, Mon Mothma having, like, their own scenes, like, where their B plot of the story is they're trying to maneuver some stuff in official ways, and that's where we see, like, a constant, or like a couple Senate scenes where we're seeing Masameda, who's kind of like stepping in for Palpatine when Palpatine is off doing his own thing, and he's got the guards flanking him, of course. So stuff like that, but it wouldn't be no big stretch to have Ian McDermott, right? And I know this is a long stretch because he's been at a lot of celebrations, but hell, he's already been confirmed to be a guest at Celebration. Maybe he's there to also promote something more than his previous works. Maybe he's gonna have a part and they'll have him on stage and say, "Hey, the Emperor's back," and then he could talk about that all weekend. You know what I mean? So
right.
I might be looking too much into that because he's always at Celebration, but hey, it's also a thought. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with it. If they want to bring him back for a 5-minute scene as a hologram, that's fine with me.
Yeah, I mean, have a 5-minute scene like that. Heck, if you want to go full blown scene with him, just do like a scene kind of mirroring Attack the Clones. Have like Bail and have some of the other priority Senate leaders sitting, like, meeting in the office with Palpatine. Like, that would really set a tone. Like, that would set a tone of urgency. Even though we know Bail survives, that'd be like, holy crap, what could happen here? Like, we know exactly who the Emperor is, and Bail knows exactly who that would be at this point. So, like, just imagine a scene like that, just kind of mirroring Attack of the Clones, but now him in full blown, he's the Emperor. Like, I mean, it's just, there's so many possibilities, because also this is 12 episodes. So I really think, going off your thing, what you mentioned, Chris, was we're for sure going to be getting scenes that are not Andor focused. It'll be like Mon Mothma. It'll be Bail Organa. It'll be people like that, because I do not think by any stretch we're going to get 12 straight episodes of Cassian.
Yeah, it's funny how Star Wars names their TV shows, right? They tend to name them after a character because I guess they feel like the metrics of the social media and all will be like, oh, it'll be more successful if people can just say the name of a character and people will want to watch it, right? But you look at The Mandalorian, you look at the Book of Boba Fett, especially the Book of Boba Fett, it's like, could this been called Underworld or something like that? Who knows? And then you're looking at Cassian Andor, especially as you said, 12 episodes. It's like, this could have easily been called like The Early Rebellion or some other much cooler name than that. And I think that's basically what I'm going to label this show as, because so far,
or it could have been just called The Alliance.
Yeah. There you go.
I'm saying? Like, it could
There
have
you
been
go.
dope. Yeah.
There you go. One final story connected to Cassian. this one came in as well earlier today as of recording this. News breaking left and right. It was kind of crazy. This is according to Bespin Bulletin as well, and they have on good authority that Cassian Andor is set to film season 2 starting in November, and it will take approximately 18 months of production.
Whoa.
Yeah, they said that this show, season 2, if that's how long it takes, it's not going to be out till like 2024.
That's crazy.
Which actually kind of tracks, because it seems like some of these series might take 2 years these days. Like, not just with Star Wars, like Witcher took like 2 years to get its second season out. So like with the budget, and especially with how Cassian Andor films, like they didn't really use a lot of the volume from what I imagine. I know there's a lot of set pictures. They built sets specifically for the show, like out in the middle of nowhere. So that makes sense, but it's like, damn, like they are treating this series like a freaking feature film production with being shooting that long, because we knew how long season 1 took already. We expected season 1 to be out like probably at least a year or two ago with how long they've been filming that one. So what do you guys think about that one, starting with Ben?
Yeah, I didn't realize that actually. That's crazy. Like 18 months. I mean, in terms of like even a movie, a 2.5 hour movie, you know, they're really only on set for maybe like 6 months total, 4 months, 5 months. Like they're not on set like for that long. Like that's wild. Like 18 months of production. It just solidifies our point we were just discussing in our prior topic. Like this show, I think, is going to be in a lot more depth and detail than what we even realize right now. Like there could be a lot more building. I mean, who knows if they presumably perfected a lot more of the CGI tech. You know, we could be getting like maybe the young Leia, like maybe some type of a young Leia, some type of like, you know, more things like along those lines. Just because, like, you know, why else? Who knows? Maybe we get full blown. You know, sure, it's a Cassian show, but you know, like we just mentioned, this is going to be kind of like the Rebel/Empire show at the end of the day. Maybe we're going to get Kenobi as a cameo at some point, whether it be in season 1 or season 2, to show why him and Bail Organa were so like tight or whatever. Like, you know, so like maybe we get him, because I mean, Ewan McGregor's around right now, and presumably he's enjoying being around. So why not have him pop in? Like, I feel like there's so many possibilities they could do with this now, and just to really flesh things out, I would say.
Heck yeah. So, I mean, yeah, this is gonna take a long time. But I think when season 1 comes out, and I think we'll hopefully see some footage at Celebration that'll kind of ease our patience. Like, okay, I see what they're doing here. I see the potential of how big and sprawling this series is going to be, especially with 12. We got to realize too, it's 12 episodes. I mean, we're used to these 7, 8 episode series, which even still almost take longer than a year.
Right.
So put that in perspective, and the thing is, there's more Star Wars being made around the clock, right? So we'll have our distractions elsewhere. We'll have The Acolyte season 1 out. We'll probably have this Grammar Rodeo show coming out. We'll have, you know, seasons maybe 3 and 4 of Mandalorian by the time this comes out at this point. So there's a lot more to look forward to at Star Wars. There always is.
I kind of hope, because it's 12 episodes, I kind of hope they release 2 at once. Like, do 2 episodes each week, you know, and make it like obviously your Friday, because they always do Friday episodes for Star Wars, right? Does that make sense?
Not anymore. Yeah, it's all on Wednesdays.
Is it Wednesday?
Now.
Okay, Wednesday.
Yeah.
So once you do, if you have 12, that means going 12 weeks with episodes like that. I don't know if that's because they always have like Marvel stuff ready to go too. When's the show coming out again?
We don't know actually. I mean, it's saying it's summer.
Summer of this year.
See, I think I don't know. I mean, is that what the article said? Because the thing is, I know for sure at the Disney investor meeting,
the
investor call, they said Q4.
That could be the end of that means the end of summer. Though Q4 is like not what you would think.
But
so like end of August maybe.
Right. But what aren't there Marvel movies coming out? And like
we got Yeah, well, we got Ms. Marvel that's starting up in the
right?
beginning of June. So that's
Yes,
going to
because
be
they got a couple
over
shows coming. Yeah, they got a couple
by
movies coming out in the
July.
fall. I'm just saying, like, if, for marketing purposes and also like just to space out things, like, you know, we want that to interfere with anything that's Marvel related? Because the movies are going to be popping. I mean, they tend to do well, obviously, but like, do we want to stretch out 12 weeks when we don't have to do that?
Well,
You know,
see,
we can,
I totally get where you're coming from on that, Milton.
right?
My only little like pushback on that, I guess,
Hmm.
is I feel like the audiences are cross audiences. Like anybody who watches Star Wars watches all the
Right.
Marvel shows on Disney. So like I feel like when they get to a point there's so much content, and we haven't even mentioned there's supposedly like I always joke, I'll believe it when I see it when Mando season 3 comes out this year. But supposedly Mando season 3 is supposed to come out this year too. So
Right.
like, if you have these things, I think they're going to get to a point where they're like, hey, we know our audience is just going to watch them both, so
Mhm.
let's just overlap them because Obi-Wan's going to be playing right over top of Miss Marvel, like
Right. Oh,
for
I'm watching
that's the
Obi-Wan.
thing.
Let's be real here. Like, I mean, look, Miss Marvel can be what it is. I have no interest in that show, no
Yep,
disrespect,
none at all for
but
me.
Yeah,
but it's
no.
Kenobi, bro. It's
Yep.
Kenobi. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sorry, Kenobi trumps anything, right? Like anything Miss Marvel. Hell, it might trump anything that's Marvel related right now. If I'm actually looking forward to seeing Thor and seeing Multiverse of Madness, no
Yeah.
lie.
Yeah.
But if those three properties came out at the same time, Kenobi and those other two movies, I'm watching Kenobi's episodes first and putting the movies on second. I'm sorry. Because Marvel, we know what that is. We
Well,
know
not to
what Marvel will be.
yeah.
Kenobi, we haven't seen Ewan McGregor play this character in what?
Nope.
Since 2005? So that's what, 15 plus years?
Mm-hmm.
Like, come
16,
on, man.
17 years.
I need to see. I'm gonna want to see him. So Marvel can wait. You know what I'm saying? I'll get the Chris Hemsworth. I know Chris Hemsworth's going to deliver as Thor. I know Cumberbatch's going to deliver as Doctor Strange. I want Obi back.
Yep.
There we go.
I fully agree with you on that.
The part that really disheartens me about Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I'll say this before we move on, is the fact that I'm going to see the first 2 episodes of Celebration,
Mhm.
and then I get back on Tuesday. Basically, when we record the podcast, we're going to have to talk about Celebration and 3 episodes of Obi-Wan Kenobi in 2 hours. I'm sitting
I
here racking
mean,
my brain like, how am I going to do this?
look. I mean,
Mega edition of the
we might have
podcast.
to do like a two-parter or something. I don't even know, but I'm gonna tell you right now, there's no way that premiere episode is gonna be trash. There's no way. There's no way those first two. If they pivoted and say, hey, we're gonna now give you two. We've been saying that for the last 2 shows. I think when it comes to Disney or Star Wars, release them as a 2 episode premiere because it flows better. You're setting
It's
up
like
your
a
story
mini movie.
significantly. Absolutely. I
Yep.
want to be invested. Like the best one thus far, the best premiere that we've watched, and we probably all agree with it right now, will be Bad Batch. That premiere episode was like what?
Oh,
An
yeah.
hour and some change? That was such a good episode. And it was
It was
2 episodes pretty much
Yeah,
combined,
it was
maybe
like
3.
80
It's like
minutes.
3.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. So it's like set your story up, give us the substance first so we can be invested and stay every week.
Yeah, that's what's so hard to balance, right? It's like they're used to putting out movies where like you got no choice. You're sitting through that movie, no matter if it's good in the first 30 minutes or the first 5 minutes,
Absolutely.
right? So
Yeah.
with this, it's so quick for the people's attention spans to be like, I'm gonna watch this when it all comes out.
Mm.
The first episode, I'll just binge it. Like I hear that so
Right.
many times. The Halo series, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna just binge it when it's all out. Tell me when it's done,
Oh,
rather
I'm
than I'm
so
sitting here.
yeah. See, I'm so anti binge watching. I'm completely against Netflix's model of dropping seasons because I think it's just so much more fun. Like, I love the opening premieres, like you said, like we all said. Showing the 2 episodes is a great way to start, but I would not want all 6 episodes dropped at once just because, like, I think, one of the most fun parts of these shows nowadays, like, say what you want. I'm definitely can be anti-social media sometimes with how people act on there on a daily basis. But one of the most fun parts about these shows is getting on social media and seeing what the other fans are talking about for the week leading up, speculating, like just the build up. I think is a lot of fun. Even the actors I feel like are having a lot of fun. Like in the Halo series, for example, like Pablo Schreiber's like real active on Twitter between week to week for Halo episodes, and stuff like that. I think it's just a lot of fun for just fans and all the actors and everybody involved, just week to week, like building the hype.
But Ben, you've been saying that for a while about how you should let the actors promote the show themselves. Like,
Yep.
let them like they're going to promote the show by interacting with the fans.
So, it's funny you say that. So I was listening to another Star Wars podcast when I was working out earlier in the week, and the funny thing is, I thought, man, did you guys listen to our podcast? Because they had a suggestion that was very familiar, that sounded familiar to our suggestion of, hey, their idea they came up with was Star Wars, to help with the fans, they should just have like a 5-minute video with Dave Filoni every week on YouTube talking to the fans. And I thought, oh, hey, that was our idea.
Yes.
But really, they like you said, the actors building up the promotion for it. Like, you have the different actors already in Kenobi. They've been, they post about it. Like Moses Ingram, the actress that's playing Reva, she's posted stunt work on her Instagram, like flipping around with lightsabers and stuff. Like she's doing a lot of her stunts, which is awesome. Like not to totally sidetrack, but one of the most fun parts I think leading up to The Force Awakens, leading up to even The Last Jedi, before Daisy shut down her Instagram, Daisy Ridley was like really putting in the work. She was going to the gym like every single day,
I remember those,
lifting, doing all her stunt work, all like seeing the actors like process like that, like hyping up the movie or show. Like it's just one of the most fun parts about it. And like for Kenobi, I think Kenobi it's going to be really special just because every week Ewan McGregor's going to be getting interviewed somewhere and talking about the show. Like that. I feel like that's a given, and I think that's going to be a fun part of the build up.
Well, yeah, and I'm about to say, and I don't know if you guys have HBO Max, but I know or even was it HBO Max or even Peacock, because I was watching the Bel Air show on Peacock, which is that reboot of Fresh Prince. Yep. They do a weekly podcast with the actors.
Oh.
Wow. Like after the episode. Now I'm assuming it's either pre-recorded and they release it like after the episode, but like they do that. Or I remember actually speaking of CW Arrowverse. So back like when Arrow season 2 came out, John Campea was doing like an after. Remember that?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And he was doing that after show.
Yep. Stephen Amell was always on there.
Stephen Amell was on it sometimes, and then they branched it off, and then they did a Flash one, like literally that right after the episode ended, they played it, whatever on YouTube. And I'm thinking this is dope because sometimes the actors will call in and be like, "Oh, hey, I'm watching the after show. I want to talk to you guys about what happened in this episode." And I'm thinking like, Star Wars, you've done that with Rebels and Clone Wars before with Andy and what was it, Andy and the other guy? I forget his name. Bring that back.
Yeah.
After each episode, do a half-an-hour Star Wars show. Let's say interview Ewan, interview Hayden. You give me a 30-minute interview with Hayden, who rarely does interviews. I'm locked in.
Yeah. Well, that's like this week. I didn't see if we marked it in our show notes, but like Hayden, Hayden came out this week and said he prepped for Kenobi by binge watching Clone Wars and Rebels. Like
dope.
That's awesome. So that means I'm really interested to see. Also, that kind of implies we're for sure getting Hayden out of the Darth Vader suit because we're going to see kind of a mixture of him, mixing with the Anakin from Clone Wars, which will be interesting to see Hayden portray it that way, like to see actual Hayden acting like the Clone Wars Anakin. Like I think it's going to be really, really fascinating. Like but the actors just promote it, like it's just hype,
Right. Here's the dopest part about that too. Imagine hearing Hayden Christensen actually say the words Ahsoka and talk about her.
Damn.
I'd be like, yo, like that comes full circle because it's like, oh damn, like he really like Anakin does know like our version of Anakin as kids growing up in the movies, like, oh, that's Ahsoka's master, like that's his girl. Like imagine hearing Hayden talk about Ahsoka, like as the Anakin Skywalker character. I'd be like, that'd be dope.
Well, we're gonna hear that because he's gonna be in the Ahsoka show. So
I'll say he's in the Ahsoka
show, right? I mean, that's so dope though. That's coming full circle. So again, like let these actors promote this show. Just let them just come out and talk about it. Like, you know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? Like, oh my God, we want to hear from them. It ain't that
Mhm.
hard.
You know, like all I would love, like, you don't have to do any type of high production, nothing. Just literally get after every episode of Kenobi, like minus the premiere, just because it's celebration. So say episodes 3 through 6, literally just have Ewan, Hayden, have one of the Inquisitor actors, have maybe whoever else, like have 4 of the actors on, and then have maybe one commentator, and literally just do a Skype call for 30 minutes. Just make it. Who cares about quality? Just do a Skype call for 30 minutes.
Pretty
and
much
just,
like the
just
3
talk.
Spider-Man. Remember that interview with the 3 Spider-Man like a couple months ago?
The 3 Spider-Man, and then they did it for the Zack Snyder Justice League. Literally, all they did, they had Gal Gadot, Henry Cavill, Zack Snyder. They all just called in on Skype. It was kind of crappy quality, but got the point across. It was incredible seeing it. So like, just do something like that, like that type of fan engagement. I think could just go such a long way for Star Wars, who we mentioned earlier was so cagey all the time. Like that's all we want. Like, man, Star Wars, if you guys are listening, like, hire us to be your social media community managers. Like, we'll come up with ideas here.
Yeah, we'll take care of you.
Oh man, yeah. So there you go. We're gonna get excited for that just in a couple weeks, and well, Celebration's definitely gonna get them talking. That's for sure. Getting into some more serious talk, we do have an update. We are getting that Book of Boba Fett behind the scenes treatment that we got for The Mandalorian season 1 and 2. This is coming to us from the source of Disney Gallery. What's on DisneyPlus.com. So they've broken lots of things in the past. So this is coming to us on May the 4th. So May the 4th, we are getting Star Wars content, because up until then, I wasn't sure if we were. So there you have it. I'm excited to see a lot of Tamora Morrison behind the scenes stuff, because, oh man, does he crack me up in The Mandalorian, playing the guitar, just doing the haka and all this kind of stuff, having fun on set. So I can't wait to see more of that.
Yeah, I'm excited for that too. And what's funny is, and I guess I should have included this in my week in Star Wars. So I've been, I watch documentaries all the time, and I actually went back and watched some of the Attack of the Clones docs. And I think on YouTube, someone combined it, like a lot of the clips, and made like a huge like hour and 30-minute one. But anyways, I was listening to that, and it had Tamara Morrison on it, obviously, and just how funny he was and how excited he was to be like Jango Fett, and how they who's the Daniel Logan, playing young Boba, and how they interacted. And then like you come full circle with Boba Fett now, it's like, man, that was such a great time in Star Wars, and seeing like that Jango became this bigger than life character and Boba became this bigger than life character that we all love. It's like I love the casting that they did for these characters. I love it. I mean, whether it's Daniel Logan, Tamora Morrison, it's all great. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I actually do like behind the scenes stuff, obviously, so I'll be very invested when this comes out.
Yeah, so we got one for specifically on Luke Skywalker. That was really cool with the technology. So I'm interested to see a lot about what's going on with Tatooine, how much of it was on the volume, how much of it was filmed like on set. That could be interesting there. Definitely more of the Luke stuff, because we've seen how much got improved with Luke. So I want to see if they'll talk more about the deepfake guy that was involved and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, I would love for them just have the deepfake guy be in the gallery video. Like we mentioned, when they hired him, it's like having a big company, multi-billion-dollar company like Star Wars hire, for all intents and purposes, just a nobody YouTuber. Like hiring just one of us, one of the people, like that's awesome. Like have him on there talking like, hey, this is what happened. This is like how I did it, etc. Like just have him on there talking like those type of things I feel like will be nice, and it'll just be cool seeing more of the behind the scenes. And I wonder, with the way fans are with the perception of Star Wars right now and things, like I wonder if they're going to like, we all know it's the Book of Boba Fett show, but is it going to be the Book of Boba Fett behind the scenes featuring Mando and Luke and a little bit of Boba? So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see if the gallery overshadows Boba, just like basically Mando and Luke did in his own show.
I mean, it's very much possible. I mean, 'cause especially, I mean, look, that Luke episode that was fire. You know,
Yep.
let's be real here, but we do want to. We all know what we want to see. Let's be real here.
Yeah.
When they released that particular episode about the behind the scenes of Luke, you know, I'm like, okay, I'm locked in for sure. But I'll watch anything that's behind the scenes. But the Luke thing will overshadow. We all know it will, because I mean, let's be real here. Book of Boba Fett was very up and down, you know, and hopefully season two, if they have a season two, um, will bounce back and be more consistent, because that character isn't trash. Like, he's not a trash character. It's just for some weird reason they're very inconsistent with that show.
Oh yeah. But yeah, yeah. So Book of Boba Fett, like you said, that character isn't trash or anything.
Mhm.
It's a Boba. I just feel like it's interesting. You know, us as hardcore fans and so many other hardcore fans have talked about this show, and not maybe not like as exciting light as we have, say, Mando season 2 or even Mando season 1. But it's so interesting, like all the quote unquote like normie, like normal fans, like that aren't like sitting on Star Wars podcasts on Friday nights, like all of the fans that just watch casually. Everybody I've talked to seemed to have really liked that show a lot. Like, even the ratings reflect it. Like, it's put up numbers. Yeah. It's right up there. Like the Boba finale was right there with the Mando finales. So like, it makes you wonder. Sure, obviously we have our opinions and stuff of the show, of course, but it makes you wonder. Like, are we as Star Wars fans being overly critical, because we're Star Wars fans, we're hardcore about it. But like, so for the normal audience, they're viewing it like, hey, we're getting to see Boba. Like, this is pretty dang cool. So it just, it just makes you wonder, like,
Right.
like where that line is, I guess.
Chris, I think you're muted.
Yeah, Chris, you're muted.
I'm muted once again. There we go.
There you go.
Milton, I know you have to head out, so I'll make you say your outro if you would like.
No, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, sorry I got to take off tonight, guys, early, but I always like being here on the podcast. Look, I'm excited for Kenobi coming up. Obviously, I think that's going to be a really good show. I don't see that show being disappointing at all. I think Star Wars overall is heading into a really good direction. So I think if they keep, they keep on the course, and they actually are open to stuff, I think we'll be fine. But again, I appreciate being on the podcast tonight, fellas. You guys can kill the rest of the show. I appreciate it. Follow me on Twitter at MiltonWeber7. I'll be back next week. So,
all right.
Sounds good.
Have a good one, man. Thanks for joining the conversation, everybody.
Have
you
a great
can go
weekend.
find Milton
guys.
on Twitter talking about a lot of things with Star Wars included there.
Yep. Have a good weekend, guys.
Take care. Stay safe, man.
Yep, you too.
All right. So with that, we're going to transition from talking about the series to talking about my favorite thing when it comes to Star Wars is the video games. So we have a lot going on with the video games. We just had Lego Star Wars, which we'll talk about in a few minutes here. But we got some huge news for the game industry. We are getting another take with Amy Hennig in Star Wars. As those of you might remembered, she was in charge of Project Ragtag, which was unfortunately canceled back with Visceral Studios underneath of EA, when EA was control of everything. And now she's looking like she's taking another stab at this brand new narratively focused action adventure game with her brand new studio that she's ahead of, Sky Media Games. No, I'm totally butchering that. Let me look at the notes to make sure I'm not messing this up. Let's see. Her news is Skydance New Media. There we go. Skydance New Media creating a brand new Star Wars game. So we don't really have any information at all based on this. But what I can say is I'm very excited because not always do we have like another director take a crack at something in any kind of format, whether it be like movies or video games or whatever have you, right? So for me, this is pretty cool. What do you have to say about this one, Ben?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, we've heard about it for years now, and it's just it's going to be interesting to see, like you said, she's taking another crack at it, and also, gosh, hey, it's too bad Milton already hopped off because one of the things Milton always says on here is like, hey, give us more Star Wars games, give us more Star Wars games, give us more Star Wars games, and this is what they're doing. So like, even though we really don't know much about it, hey, it's at least another game. So like my thing is with these Star Wars games is, even if there are games you don't like, now they're starting to come out at a pace where it's almost like the movies and shows where, hey, if you don't like Book of Boba, don't worry about it. We got Kenobi coming out a few months later. Hey, you don't like Star Wars Lego? Don't worry about it. We got a new Star Wars game coming out next year. Like, I feel like it's good we're getting to a point where you have selections to choose from, because like back in the day, the prequel era got so much negativity around it because a lot of people viewed it, like, holy smokes, these are the final 3 Star Wars movies we're ever gonna get, possibly. Like, so there was so much worry, but now with how many movies and how many shows and how many games there are, even if there's games you don't like, doesn't matter. There's something else always in the pipeline. So like, this is just another opportunity to put another game on the platter and spectrum of Star Wars gaming.
Yeah, so for those of you, and I did a separate video about this already, about just, hey, what is Project Ragtag? What's the significance of Amy Hennig coming back? Remember, she was the one in charge for Jack and Daxter for the Uncharted series, which most of you probably know that series pretty well if you're a fan of the Sony PlayStation. But Project Ragtag would be a game that is set kind of right after the right after A New Hope, in between that and Empire Strikes Back. You are playing like a survivor of Alderaan, which obviously has been destroyed, and the Empire's like basically killing all of the Alderaanians. Like, they're just headhunting for these Alderaanians to like stop spreading the word that they're like basically their planet got destroyed by the Empire. The Empire's figures they could hide that information somehow, I guess. So that's what's happening in that game. It was supposed to be, I mean, we've seen like a little clip of it back in 2016 on like this big conference with a lot of Star Wars games. They showed a brief glimpse of like some concept art of some like ruffian looking, underworld looking dudes, and then you got this guy like walking out of like a doorway in Maz Eisley from the looks of it, and with a Star Destroyer that's like overhead. Everybody's probably seen images of that in the last 5-6 years. So that's kind of the game we're talking about. Now there were some rumblings when this news broke out the day of that this might be the same game she's working off of, which I guess could make sense because, I mean, you got to wonder, it's like, okay, is it going to be EA that has the rights, or is it Lucasfilm that has the rights to the story? I'm not really sure how that works, but I could see it going either way. So whether or not, the director would want to kind of work on that story, it might bring up like old bad memories working on something like that, or maybe she just feels like she has a mission to complete this thing that's been in her head for the last 10 years or whatever it's been. So,
oh yeah, I mean, and now there's more opportunities for gaming. There's all the next gen systems, the old gen systems, PCs, etc. Like, there's so many opportunities to put the game on and get it out there. There's that. Plus, just to be real, so what year was this originally again? Did you say?
the Project Ragtag, what year was it announced or like canceled?
Like canceled / like just that time range. What when did you say that was?
I think it was canceled between 2017 or 2019.
Okay, so here's okay. That makes my point exactly. So my thing is, maybe we got to think about, like, during that time period, we had the fallout of the Last Jedi. Like, say what you want, like, about it, whether people love it, hate it, in between, whatever. There was a lot of negativity surrounding Star Wars, not just for fans. I'm sure a lot of the creators were just burnt out. They were like, dude, we just don't want to deal with it. So maybe, back then that was kind of rubbing her the wrong way. And now that Star Wars is in much much more of a positive place. Like it's completely different now. I feel like that's why you see some of these creators coming back, like her. Heck, look, we see Hayden and Ewan coming back. I feel like Hayden and Ewan coming back, it's just signifies like a lot of the times like where we've had negative Star Wars stuff, like that stuff is like healing basically. So now, you have them back, you have this Project Ragtag back, like you have all these things coming back because now like we're moving past a lot of those times and like getting into more positive times with Star Wars. And I think this is just another example of that.
Yeah, you're right, because back in the day, like we didn't have the Mandalorian yet. Like it was just like, okay, we have a couple things coming out. I guess at that point it was Last Jedi and everything, where it's like, oh
Yeah.
man, this is not
Well,
good, right?
remember famously like Christopher McQuarrie, he said he would never want to write a Star Wars movie because the fans. And
Oh,
during that whole Fallout era, like that time period, like that put such a black mark on like negativity with Star Wars. And now, now we're moving past that. Like the Mandalorian, I feel like the Mandalorian, of course, is like the flagship for that. Like
hmm
it brought uh, mostly everybody back on board because when you see Baby Yoda, you can't be negative about Star Wars anymore. It's just facts. So like the positivity in Star Wars has been building. So now that's spreading from the movies and shows to the games. It's like, oh, maybe we're gonna get these revived projects like this Project Ragtag. Maybe we'll see what potentially could have been the old Star Wars Battlefront 3. Maybe we'll see more of these old projects getting revived because there's more positivity and popularity, I feel like, around Star Wars than ever before.
yeah, that's a good point with the Respawn game, because they're making that first person shooter that has that original Battlefront director on there. I don't know if he was a director
God,
or some
so
buddy in
hyped.
lead production. So there's a very good chance that actually could happen. Yeah, that could
Yep.
happen as well.
I mean, look, we just got it in Star Wars Lego. Look, look how excited the creators were for Star Wars Lego. We've talked about it almost weekly. All the behind the scenes clips, the creative people behind Lego, they're genuinely like, sure, obviously it's their job to market, but you can tell the way they talk about the game, like they're genuinely positive and excited about Star Wars Lego. Like, these people are excited about Star Wars again, and it's nice. Like, it's so nice we're at a point with Star Wars where we're talking, the things we debate about like are just some of the like story stuff and on-screen stuff. We're not dealing with off the field drama basically, which is so nice compared to years past. And that's bleeding over into the gaming now. And now like, we have this project coming back, which it's going to be interesting. And like, sure, we don't really know anything about it, but it's just another Star Wars game getting thrown into the mix on top of, we're going to get more Fallen Order games. We're going to be getting more, so many other games in that ilk. Like
Yeah.
it's just another stepping stone to more Star Wars games, in my opinion.
That's the thing, right? Is this game is probably going to be out the end of the console generation. Let's face it, right? That they just announced this game, they're staffing up. That means that it's going to be very far off, very far off. But if they can hit this cadence where they're putting out a AAA Star Wars game every year, that'll be
Yep.
pretty good. That'll be pretty good, right? Like we just got like they got to be good quality, right? Like Metacritic, anything above like an 83 or an 80, anything above an 80 Metacritic is a good game, a great game in many cases. So if they can hit that cadence, like this year we get Jedi Fallen Order, hopefully, or the next Jedi game, I should say. Then after that, maybe we'll get the KOTOR remake, and then after that, maybe we'll get the Eclipse, and then after that, maybe we'll get this game, or maybe we'll get whatever Respawn has been working on with the shooter game. So it's just great to know that there's stuff in the pipeline, because geez, oh man, like a year ago it was like, what is coming out? We don't know anything. We don't even know the studios that are working on these games. So
Yeah.
that's just exciting in its own right. But speaking of Lego Star Wars, we got an update on how well Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga is doing, and they are doing extraordinarily well compared to their own standards of having the most units sold out of any of their prior Lego franchise. They have 3.2 million copies sold in just 2 weeks. Man, oh man, I knew this game was going to be big, but it's because of the actual quality of this game that I think it really just hits home the point that yeah, we waited a long freaking time for this game. We thought this game was coming out in when 2020. Like they
Yeah.
originally put out the thing was like, oh, never mind, not in October. We're gonna push this back 2 years entirely, basically. Um, but that's the thing, right? It's you guys have been watching me play this stream. You see firsthand how fun, how great this game is, and it's just great to see that the people that have been working hard on this game get rewarded for what they've done. Hopefully, they get like a little bonus or something for doing that, right? The game developers go through a lot. We did hear some stories about how they were clamping down a little bit, maybe trying to get these people to finish the game at a timely manner. So that could be a little bit stressful, obviously. Um, but I still am happy to see that this game is as successful as it is because it doesn't matter what kind of gamer you are. If you're a novice, if you're a hardcore gamer, anybody could enjoy this game.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like with this game, it's great that the sales have been so good. It just shows the popularity. It's just wide scoping. Um, for example, with the wide scoping aspect of the game, like so other than Star Wars, like my main podcast listenings I listen to are fitness related podcasts because I'm really big into lifting. And one of the podcasts I listen to every week, they do like a weekly podcast, like every Monday they release it, and or Tuesday I should say. But anyways, on last week's episode they mentioned, like the one guy mentioned how he bought the new Star Wars Lego game and he just started playing
Huh.
it because it brought him back to memories of playing the old games. We referenced before the older ones from the early 2000s, and he was talking about how much he loved it and all this stuff. Like he mentioned it, and then even in the Madden community, there's a couple of Madden YouTubers I follow. I've been in some of their Twitch streams, and they've mentioned how off stream when they're not playing Madden, they've been grinding away on the Star Wars Lego game, playing that because like it's such a big game and stuff. Like the one Madden YouTuber I follow, he said he's just trying to like complete the game to 100% and stuff, and he's just playing it through and all that sort of thing. So it's cool seeing Star Wars like cross all of these different spectrums from that football community to fitness and like everywhere in between. Like, it's great to see how much this game like is reaching out basically. And, these people are all in their late 20s, 30s, like it's just, it's awesome to see.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I know a lot of coworkers that are playing it, and
Yeah.
they're having a great time, and I would consider them more as the mainstream gamers. And when it comes to Star Wars and Legos, people don't mess around. Like people will come back no matter how old they are to play the new installment. And well, while we're on the topic, I usually try to do like a oh, what I'm playing this week sort of thing, or where I'm at lately in Lego, and I'll tell you what I've been doing lately in Lego because the more I play this game, the more, and I haven't played Elden Ring, but I've seen some funny memes about Elden Ring with Lego Star Wars and something about like, you've had your fun with Elden Ring, but now it's Lego Star Wars. It's really time to get involved, right? Or whatever it is. But Elden Ring takes like 100 hours. I feel like Lego Star Wars is going to take me 100 hours because I'm putting in like an hour a day and I'm barely scratching the surface. I think I'm like 40% completion and I probably put a good 30 hours into the game already. And the fact of the matter is, I'm having so much fun still in free play mode. The most recent thing I did before I started the podcast was I was flying around the space around Pisana, and I was able to engage the Steadfast Super Star Destroyer from the First Order. Came in, took out all its turrets, landed on there, and then basically had to fight through the halls of a First Order Star Destroyer to take it out. But along the way, there's a lot of cool puzzles. Like you have to take some person out, then like put a key card in to get to the next area. Then at one point you have to switch your characters a lot in Lego, which is really fun. He had to switch to a protocol droid to like activate a turret from the other side of a ray shield to destroy the generators. And he got in there, he took out the commander. The commander said, "I'm actually not the real commander. I'm a decoy." And then you had to run outside to the hangar bay where there was a actual commander sitting in a freaking ATST that was just firing at me like crazy, and I ended up finding a turret to find this turret to just like destroy the ATSD, and then I was able to capture the ship. So it's really cool stuff like that. And I spent like over an hour on Naboo. Like each planet sometimes has multiple hubs. Like I went to like Theed, then there's an indoor area in Theed, then there's like Gunga, then there's the actual swamps, and I was doing like some like challenge where I was playing like Boba Fett, like grappling along this race. And what I love about the game is like all these challenges are so unique. Like I still feel like there's a lot of like refreshing things that are happening, whether it be like a speeder race on Dakar or whether it be just, going on the unbeaten path, on the, unbeaten path and finding like, more Kyber bricks and stuff like that. It's just a blast. I really have been surprised with how much I'm still playing this game. I didn't think I would still be playing it 2 weeks later. I thought it'd be completely done, but I'm looking at the game kind of overwhelmed. Like, I'm trying my best to like 100% each planet, but then I realized that I'm going to be here for way longer. So let me just try to come back later and get most of the stuff done.
Oh yeah, the Lego games, they're notorious for that. Like you gotta play through them 2 or 3 times to like complete them, and now especially with all the different side things you can do, there's plenty to do. Like the Star Wars Lego game, it's just been so much fun. I'm just taking it slow. Like I beat Attack of the Clones, so I'm on Revenge of the Sith now. And yeah, I mean it's just a lot of fun. Like the Lego games, they're classic, or like they're. I feel like this game's gonna be right there, like in the classic Lego game, just because there's so many things you can do, and like it just feels like it's just been so well received. Like when you see the buzz about it on social media, there's always positive things being said about it. New people who try it, they're enjoying it. Like I have a younger cousin who's only like fifth grade or sixth grade. He's loving it right now. There's plenty of like, all age ranges just loving this game, and it's a really great thing to see.
Yeah, another thing that I like is just the attention to detail. Like they go through so much trouble for like one little model or one ship. Like they'll completely change mechanics for one character. It blows my mind. Like for instance, I unlocked the droid Deka. The droid Deka actually like spins to move. Like it actually does in a movie. It doesn't just, they could have done like a okay job, just had to walk around like a normal character. But no, they went through the trouble of like animating it to even run faster than a normal person. Like, and that's just one character. And then when it stops, its shields come up. And it actually has a deflector shield. It's like, what the hell? Like, they went through that much trouble with one character that most people probably won't even activate at all. Or another thing that I thought was just freaking amazing is there's like no size cap on the characters. For instance, I went out and summoned my Rancor, and the Rancor is literally the size as you would expect of a Rancor. It is like 10 times the size of a normal minifigure, and you could just rampage around and you just break everything you touch. So I had him out, and I had Jabba the Hutt just running around. It was like, holy crap, this is incredible. And it's just the collecting aspect of the game, which is so addicting, right? Like I was able to unlock the Sith Inquisitor, or not the Sith Inquisitor, like the Sith Infiltrator ship that Darth Maul uses. But first, I had to unlock a character that was basically a Naboo soldier. So I ended up finding Captain Panaka, who has also been one of my favorite characters in Star Wars, for no other reason than he was pretty cool in A Phantom Menace. But I was able to get him to talk to somebody that let me do this gun training with them, since I was part of Theed, forces. And then doing so, I was able to unlock the Sith Infiltrator ship. Then I got into that ship and I went through a race and I was able to unlock Shaak Ti, above the planet of Dakar. So it's like just fun little stuff like that I just can't get off the game. I'm like, I got to do something. I can't keep playing this.
Oh yeah, this, like you said, it's the collecting aspect is, I feel like, the big thing when it comes to the Lego games. And a lot of these games really, like it just like, unless you're really not about it, I feel like so many people are like completionist. When they see a game says like 37%, you're like, I have to get it to 100%, like you can't just stop. Like to me, if you just stop, it's just like, then you think about it, you're like, gosh, I need to keep playing, like that sort of thing. Like it's always that that like type of like addictive thing, to complete the game overall, I guess I would say. Like heck, like even in Madden, like everybody here knows I love sports and loves the NFL. In Madden, you build your team up throughout the year to 99, and once it gets to 99, it's basically like, hey, you're done with the game, like it's over. So like right now, I am like this close to being there, and then I'll be done with the game until the new game comes out at the end of August. Like I'm at a 98. I'm at like a 98.1 right now. So I am like very, very, very close to being done. And, once I get there, it's like, well, there's nothing really much else to do. So I'm done. So then I can just do other stuff. So, that's the thing with games like that, like Star Wars, Lego, like, people like to complete stuff, like to perfect completion. Like nobody ever likes to just like leave it, at, like I said, 37% or whatever. And, it's just one of the biggest like aspects of the game. And especially because, we mentioned it before, like this game has like no age barriers. So anybody can presumably get it to 100%, which is nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Another one of the puzzles, and I feel like this podcast is just going to devolve into, or evolve rather, into like a Lego conversation every week, because I could easily do that, no problem, because I have so many stories.
We'll give our Lego updates every week.
But there was this one particular Kyber brick that was driving me off the wall. It was in Theed, and this is where I mean they get so creative with this damn game, and it just never ceases to amaze me how much like they think outside the box for these games. And I'm wandering around this big building, and there is a chest that is locked, and that usually means that there's a button or there's a switch nearby to open up the box. Very simple, right? So I'm looking all over for this thing, and I'm thinking, oh, it's got to be on the roof of this ship. There's got to be of the building. There's got to be some like handhold things I have to jump up to get to reach. Like you can use the grapple hook with like a rebel character or like a bounty hunter to get up to those things. It took me like 10 or 20 minutes, and I was going back and forth like, okay, I'm going to try to do something else. I'll come back and figure it out. I did that about like 3 or 4 times. And then I just randomly had like, I guess Kylo Ren or somebody out, and I was just like pressing the B button, which is like the force button. And I seen that there was a switch, but it was behind like an immovable like bars. Like you couldn't move the bars. And I had noticed that before, so I thought I had to jump in through like the ceiling, the roof of the place. So I was just going around, I must just press B, and he like used the force like through the pillars to like force grip the switch and turn it on. And I was just like, look, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. So like that was a mechanic that I never would have thought of before. It's like, oh yeah, I can't get through the wall. I'll just use the force through the actual pillars to use the switch to release it. So really cool things like that where I'm like, yeah, just when I think I understand the game completely, it throws me for another loop.
Oh yeah, there's all kinds of like little things like that. Like I said, I've only played through episodes 1 and 2 so far, and I'm on Revenge of the Sith now. But like playing through those games, you have like moments like that where it's like, what in the world? Well, heck, like even when I was playing because like when I first got the game, I just started 3 separate files just to test out, Phantom Menace, A New Hope, and Force Awakens. And like in A New Hope, you start out in the Tantive 4, and I kept like, it's funny with the Lego games, like us as adults, we're like looking for all these technical things, and like there was a part in the Tantive 4 where you're walking through the hallway and you have to like build a switch or whatever to click it, and I had just kept walking past that part over and over again, and I was stuck on the Tantive 4 level for like 35 minutes, and I was like, dude, where the heck is, like, how do I advance this? And then I, like you said, Chris, like I walked past, where you're supposed to build like the little switch thing, and I must have just barely bumped B on my controller, and Leia reached down and started, grabbing, and I was like, wait a second, are you supposed to build something here? And I held B, and I was like, and I was like, holy smokes, I finally got past this part. So like, there's things like that, you just don't notice at first, but it's just, it's just part of the game. It's to me, it's a lot of fun, and it expands the lifespan of the game.
Oh yeah.
But it's nice because it's not it's not challenging where you get frustrated with, like, I hear a lot of people like complaining about Elden Ring, for example, because it's like, the boss battles are like super hard. And like my cousin said, he played one boss battle literally like 35 times or something. He couldn't beat
Yeah.
it. And like, he was like, dude, this is driving me insane. And like, I don't want to play a game like that where it's like that difficult, where you just keep failing over and over and over again. Because like, I'm the type of gamer, like, I'll play through challenging games and stuff. Like, I've played like all the Halo games, I've played all the Star Wars games for the most part. But like, if it's a game where it's too over the top challenging and you just constantly fail redoing the mission, I get to a point where I'm just like, I'm just gonna uninstall it and be done with it. So like, that's one of the best parts about Lego. It's like, it's not like that. It's tricky at points, but it's not where it's like where you want to just delete the game.
Yeah, the Lego game, it's kind of relaxing and
Yep.
cathartic, really. You're just like, okay, I'm just gonna go around, try to get my kyber bricks. Oh, if this one's bothering me, I'll go to another one. Like, if I can't figure
Yeah.
this one, I'll come back later and I'll
Well,
figure
there's
it
no
out.
urgency to it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Another one, real fun one. I was on the Steadfast today after I bought it for 3 million bricks. Man, oh man, are those things expensive to buy. But it doesn't matter to me because I have like 5 billion credits now. But literally, I'm not even exaggerating. I have 5 billion after having a multiplier of 3,000 something bricks. Man, it's crazy. But anyway,
That's
there was a
perfect.
challenge. There was a basketball hoop right in a hangar bay where these stormtroopers were just chilling. Um, and it dawned on me. I'm like, what if I switched to BB-8 and I used the Force with Luke Skywalker in the Return of the Jedi costume with the hood and everything to have him go through the hoop? I wonder if that'll do everything. And sure enough, it gave me a Kyber brick. And it said something about like droid ball or something, but it was like a perfect thing. I was like, that makes total sense. And it's like through BB-8
See,
through
I
the
would have
hoop.
never, like, without you saying that, I probably would have never even thought of that. Like, it's just cool stuff like that though. They incorporate in the game, because like, that's just something you normally wouldn't think of, like, just playing through a game.
Yeah, and I must say I do love like the ease of use of which it is to use the force in a game. You just simply
Yep.
press B on an object, you can levitate it, and then just hurl it, right? Like it's just so satisfying and it works so well. Same with the gunplay. The gunplay is pretty solid, way better than it's ever been in those games, let me tell you. In lightsaber combat, I'm destroying fools left and right. It feels like a good time. Like I was running in this one area and there was just swatting down battle droids as Darth Vader. And that's the fun part, right? It's just having that power trip of like being any character you want. I could pull out one of the Knights of Ren. Then I could go through and I could send out General Grievous. You could have a total power fantasy of like, I wonder what would happen if you had these two characters powering together. Like that to me, I
Yeah.
just get a kick out of that. Like I'm always switching up my characters. Like just like, all right, what else kind of crazy combination team can I make now?
Yeah. I think you could like take, Vader and, I don't know, Vader and Grievous versus Darth Maul and Phantom Menace or something.
Yeah,
Like, there's so many options to do. Like that's one of the, I think, best parts of the Lego games too, is just like, just in general, like from even the old games, was taking characters that are from other movies back into movies that they don't belong in. That's it's a lot of fun. It keeps the game fresh too.
heck yeah. And speaking of video games, we have another one that came out this week, and I skipped that darn segment like I do sometimes, unfortunately. Out this week because, well, there was literally no comics out this week, but we did get a video game, so we didn't get left behind with any new releases, and that is The Force Awakens. Nope, The Force Unleashed on Nintendo Switch. I just watched the trailer. I was not impressed. Oh my gosh! Like, guys, can you up-res the visuals at least a little bit? I'm sorry, but like they used the Wii version. Why? Like, use the Xbox version at least. I know the Switch can handle the Xbox version. I mean, come on. Because apparently, like the Wii version was a completely different game almost. If you look at the
Yeah.
visual textures of Vader, it's just like so just blocky. Like it's flat. There's no no
Oh yeah.
reflection. It's just like, wow, this is it. And I understand. Like they selected the Wii version for the fact that they could use the Switch motion controls, but I feel like that's gonna be such a gimmick anyway with that game. Like, there's not really. Oh, cool! Like, I'll do it for like 5 minutes. Like, oh, cool! I'm swinging, Star Killer's weapons. Whether or not they even go 1-to-1 with his hand, probably not. You probably just wag it. It probably just does some move. So I was like, I don't know who decided this. That would be a cool idea. I know they're trying to utilize a Switch as something different, but I mean, I look at the visuals and I'm like, oh, this is not good.
Yeah,
More power to you if you want to play it, but I know that I wouldn't want that version.
yeah, I have no interest in it whatsoever. Like I saw the trailer, like you said, it just looks off. And why not? Like you said, why not use the console version? Like I'm at a point. Like don't get me wrong, I played Nintendo Switch before. Like I like the Nintendo consoles in my opinion. Again, I'm not much of a non Xbox gamer, I guess I would say. But in terms of Nintendo, like if I'm gonna play the Switch, I'm gonna play Nintendo properties like Mario, like stuff like that. Basically Mario. My only correlation to Nintendo is Mario. So if I'm playing Nintendo, it's Mario. So like I don't know. To me, a lot of the Star Wars games I feel like are just so much better on console or even PC for that matter. I mean, look, Old Republic's been cranking away for 10 years or so now. So like,
Yeah.
you have all these things. And then like the console or like the handheld versions, like I don't really remember just in general like a really good handheld Star Wars game other than ironically Star Wars Lego. But Star Wars Lego is a much easier game for a handheld, just because it fits that whole thing. So I don't know, it just yeah, it just wasn't too interesting. It was just like, whatever. It's just the whole gist of like, I mean, insert my spiel of like, hey, they're releasing more Star Wars games. They may not be for everybody, and this game is definitely not for us.
Let's see what the chat has to say about this. Well, first off, Dark Nerdy Gonzo is saying Vader and Max Rebo for the win. And man, now they mention it, I don't know if I have Max Rebo unlocked yet, but that would be pretty freaking cool. I know he's in the game. I gotta find him somewhere. Him alongside of Mama the Hutt would be pretty funny. He also said The Force Unleashed I always thought was overrated. Been wanting to play that House of the Dead remake though. They seriously needed to release a light gun proper for it. Even some third-party guns, though. Not really sure about the House of the Dead remake, although I played them a ton in arcades. But the reason why I think The Force Unleashed was so good is because of story, right? I think like people really enjoyed the story with like how much it weaved into the rebellion. That we didn't see that coming. At least I didn't.
Well,
they were really
Vader
pushing
having an
the
apprentice.
effects. They were really pushing. Obviously, the game's called The Force Unleashed, so they were pushing like. I remember they were talking about like the vegetation and the way the Force like interacts with the environment, things like the physics and all of that is like something that was totally different for Star Wars, and it looked amazing for its time. So I guess there was multiple reasons why people really liked it, but the action was a lot of fun too.
Oh yeah, the action. Remember the first game you don't even start as Starkiller. You start as Darth Vader on
Yep.
Kashyyyk, and one of the best parts. Like I still love firing up that old game and just going into Kashyyyk and just destroying all the trees and Wookiees. Like you just wipe everything out. Like it's literally the Force Unleashed. And
Yeah.
I think like you said, it's just the story really what drove it. Like the idea of Vader having an apprentice, secret apprentice, is pretty awesome. Because it really cements. If we think about it, that was during that timeline. That was post Clone Wars, basically, or like the Clone Wars wrapping up, and then you have this was your first kind of like on-screen-ish type, expanded universe, if you will, for Star Wars, other than the movies we've gotten up to that point, like at that level, like of that story level, So yeah, that was really big. That's what made the impact so big. And then of course, like so many of the iconic moments in The Force Unleashed, like the pulling the Star Destroyer out of the sky, like those type of things. That's why fans, heck, that's why fans like in general, when we see like lack of force power in a lot of these movies, or shows, it's because in the back of fans' minds, they're like, man, like we would love to see something like that live action, like on screen.
Yeah, so there you go, Star Killer. He's back. And well, if you want to play this on your Switch as you're going to Star Wars Celebration, you have another Star Wars option. I mean, I have a whole bevy of games to play Star Wars related on that 6-hour plane ride to California. So I'll be swapping in with Jedi Outcast. I have that. I have Star Wars Racer. I'll just go ahead and buy KOTOR for like the 10th time on that. Check that out because I didn't have a Switch back then when I was riding to Chicago Celebration. So I
They
was playing
they
my
need to release Shadows of the Empire.
Oh my gosh, why haven't they done that already? Seriously. I think Republic. Oh yeah, I also have Republic Commando on there. I think I'm gonna probably play through that game. I don't think it's a very long game. I could probably beat Republic Commando by the time I get to California. That could be fun.
Yeah, it's only like 3 levels.
Yeah, but it's like perfect for a Switch. It's just a first-person shooter, very tight, coordinated.
Yep.
But our last story has to do with Lego, not game related. We're moving over to collecting. I threw this one in there because I was like, oh, it's just another Lego Ultimate Collector's thing. But it is the X34 land speeder. I guess that's the actual name for it. X something,
Yep.
I think. But this thing is freaking big, man. Like, this is bigger than the scale for the minifigures. Like, it looks so cool. I had to just throw this in the notes because I wanted to acknowledge how cool this thing looks.
Yeah, see, I had only seen it when you sent us the notes, and yeah, it's awesome. Like getting like really detailed Lego sets like that. Because the original Lego Land Speeder, I literally had that, and it's small, but this is like an actual like cool looking model. So yeah, like just getting iconic things like that is great, and it just makes you think, oh yeah, they're releasing stuff like this because we're leading up to Kenobi.
Mm-hmm.
So
maybe we'll see this as might see this as like an Easter egg in the background of Lars homestead somewhere.
Yeah, maybe there, maybe in town, like in one of those shots where Reva and the gang's in town, like, you just have the land speeder in the background, maybe at the dealership where maybe when it looked a little newer.
Yeah, but man, I mean, this thing is cool. Like, you see the guy holding it, and it is long, man. That thing is like probably close to like 15, 16 inches long. That's a good distance for a big collector's item, at least. You want it to be large. You want to see the detail.
Oh yeah, well, see, that's the cool thing. Like I mentioned, it's like I always liked the like Lego collector's items. For example, my cousin, his girlfriend got him for Christmas. It was a Lego collector's Darth Maul head. It's literally like the size of my head. Like it's literally scale Darth Maul head. And I always love those type of collector's items, like that, like this, just because it adds more to the Lego sets. Like, sure, the actual, like, the Lego models are always really cool, don't get me wrong. But, like, the collector's items that let you see, like, the details and stuff, that's great. Like, I mean, heck, I have, sitting over across from me on one of my shelves over there, I have a Lego, it's not Star Wars related, but it's, like, a really detailed Lego battleship. I built that actually when I was, like, 5 years old with my dad. And, I've had it ever since, and it's been, put together for like 23 years now. And, like those type of detailed Lego models are just really cool because, once you put them together, like they look great no matter where you have them.
Yeah. Oh man. Whenever I get a new place, I'm going to have to shell out at least some money for one of these collector items or something. Either that or I just got to put more shelves in this room somehow. But man, oh man, that was an odyssey. We got through it. We got through all the news stories that I wanted to talk about. There's probably a few that I didn't talk about or mention here, but coming in at about 2 hours, I think we pulled it off, man.
Oh yeah, we definitely did. It was a really good time. Like another quick fun little story for our late listeners here. You mentioned earlier how you and your cousin, your younger cousin, always took like a little 12-inch TV to play like the old retro Lego games or the Lego Star Wars games or Star
Yeah.
Wars games in
Yeah.
general. So like, that reminded me when you were talking. So one thing me and my cousin always do, or we used to do anyways, before like modern gaming and stuff. So we actually this was like mid 2000s. So my grandma, she actually had a van that had a built-in straight up like actual TV, like actual like TV,
What?
like a straight up TV in it. Like it was literally a van. It was like a van, like a Chevy, whatever, late 90s van. And
Huh.
it actually had a built-in actual TV. Like it was
What?
wired like hard. Yeah, it was like wired into the van. Like she bought it, new in the 90s. And so like in the early 2000s, whenever we would take our trips to West Virginia, which is like 6 hours from here, or to Virginia, which is like 11 hours from here, we would literally take my Xbox and we would hook up Xbox on this little TV. The screen was literally like 8 inches wide, if not that,
Oh.
maybe 6 inches wide, like literally a screen probably this big, less than the size of like my face, just
Yeah.
tiny little screen, and it was always so fun because like, we're playing Star Wars Battlefront split screen on this tiny little TV. Like our screens
Oh
are like the
my
size of
gosh.
our screen. We're playing first person shooter on like a screen the size of maybe your iPhone screen or something. And yeah, so like that was always a fun time back then. And you saying that earlier with your cousin, that brought back the memory of like, yeah, like I did that with my cousin, except like, while in a car playing it split screen. We did that. And then like before, when a couple of my other cousins rode with us, we actually played 4-person split screen Battlefront on that TV. Like the screens were literally like two
Oh
and a half
my
inches by
gosh.
2.5 inches. um, but yeah, I mean, hey, like you got to get your Star Wars gaming in, however you get it in, and that's how we did it for a long time, and basically until my grandma got rid of that TV, like, or she got rid of that van in like probably 2010.
Ah.
It just died. But up until about 2010, I was in high school. Even then, I was taking my Xbox 360 and we played Force Unleashed like on the way to West Virginia and stuff, like,
Oh my gosh.
on that little tiny TV.
Yeah, I
But
remember my friend had a van. It was like a Dodge van, but
yep,
it had like that high roof. Like
yep,
the vehicle itself had like I remember like stepping in, you had to like walk up like a step to like get inside, and then you had like all this headroom, and you had a big TV. Well, not big, but he also had like a TV like on the side console. I was like, what the hell? Like this is crazy.
yep. Good. Those are always good times with
But it
those
was
type
so
of things.
funny because like that would be such a normal thing. Like I'd be hauling in like a white TV, and my uncles would just kind of look at me like, "Oh, here we go again. They got the TV. I guess we'll see you at dinner, and we'll see you next year." Because
Yeah,
we'd eat dinner and go right back into the room and play for another 5 hours while my
yeah,
my father and my uncles would play cards or something, and my mom and
yeah.
my aunts would just be sitting around talking, watching TV or something. We'd be in the other room just playing Halo.
Yeah, well, that's how it was for us. Like, we would go to family events like that, or back then, growing up with the Halo games, like what I would do, like with our cousins, we get all of our cousins around, and like I have a really big extended family. Like my mom has 10 siblings.
Wow.
So like we would get all of our cousins around, and we would come, like you said, to these family events, and since I was always the cool kid with like the TV, I was one of the few. My parents actually let me have a TV in my bedroom when I
Hey
was
Ben, your
younger.
mic's acting up again.
Oh man, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you, but you sound like kind of like a battle
wait.
droid.
Okay, 1 second.
But anyway, yeah. So that's what we
Okay.
had to do back in the day. For all of our younger listeners, you guys have internet
can you hear me?
now that can actually play games. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, cool. But yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, like that was one of the fun things back then. Yeah, so like I was always the kid in the family who I would bring the TV to the family gatherings where I would literally, we would have like 2 or 3 Xboxes there and hook them up with Ethernet cables and be playing like 12 people Halo back then. And those are always good times, like with Halo and Star Wars, because Battlefront had that capability. You could play up to like 16 people at a time or whatever. So,
Wow.
you just join parties. You'd have Ethernet cables crossing the entire house, like yelling from room to room, like, don't step on that cable.
Yeah.
So, so yeah, like those are some of the best times of Star Wars gaming. Like, sure, we have all these new graphics and stuff, but we may sound like the old people in the room saying it, but it's like back then, like that was Star Wars gaming. Like there was so much fun, like back then, like just that simple type of gaming back then.
Oh man. Well, this wraps up episode 55 of Outer Rim Transmission. We ran a gambit tentative going talking from merchandising, toys to video games to series. So we did a lot today. A lot is going to ramp up in the next couple weeks, whether it be Obi-Wan Kenobi or Celebration. We got more Celebration news. I'll say it. Ewan McGregor is going to be there. He's charging $300 for a photo op, and it's already selling out everywhere. So money's not an option for people to be with one of their childhood heroes, and that's for damn sure why they're charging that much money. So, yeah, we'll be back next week talking more Star Wars as we always do. Who knows what is going to drop on us between now and then? Maybe we'll get some Kenobi footage. Who knows? It looks like it's likely that we could be. I have a good feeling about this. So Ben, where can the people find you and keep up to date with what you're doing on your day to day?
Yeah. I mean, you can just find me. I mean, all I'm doing like this weekend, just pretty much hanging out, working out, or just doing some cardio. I got a muscle strain, so I haven't been lifting this week at all. So just mainly cardio. And then yeah. Oh no.
You're doing it again. Of course it would happen at the end of the outro. Oh, you gotta love it, don't you, listeners and watchers? I hear like there's a sonic screwdriver going on in the back when you did something there.
All right, hello.
I can hear you. Let's finish it off before it goes bad again.
Okay, so to make it quick, yeah, I'm just going through my normal fitness routine, doing some cardio, doing some meal prepping, doing some gaming as always, raving about the Halo show. Again, we say it every week. If you're not watching the Halo show, I don't know what you're doing because the Halo show is incredible. But yeah, that's all I'll be up to, just talking Halo, talking Star Wars, fitness. That's pretty much it. So, you can find me talking about all that stuff at Real Ben Maynard on Twitter and Instagram. And just a quick reminder for everybody, wondering where Milton is, he'll be back next week. He was on the first half of this show, and you can find him at Milton Weber 7 as well.
There you go. And you can find me at Starrapter here. We're going to have more comics coming out this week, hence why you didn't hear me talking about them this week or see me talking about it, because we had Zip Zilt Zero. But we'll be back with a big issue, Crimson Reign #4, which is the big story with the Knights of Ren infiltrating Vader's castle on Mustafar that I've been waiting months to see what's going to happen. So can't wait. Hopefully it lives up to the hype. So for me, for Ben, for Milton, who left us a little bit earlier, that's going to do it for us here at Outer Rim Transmission. This was transmission number 55. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you, chat. Thanks to Dark Nerdy Gonzo. Thanks to Red 5 Reviews. And remember, you can always watch us after the fact and always download us after the fact on any podcast streaming platforms. Once again, thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you next week. Have a good one. End transmission.